Hi everyone, and welcome to today's session on 4 hacks for creating healthy routines at home. My name is Amy Knight and I am one of the dietitians at Nutrition Australia. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is certainly challenging as daily life just seems to get busier and busier. While it may seem like working from home would make healthy habits easier, this routine definitely comes with its own challenges. I think we can all relate to the way that healthy habits are usually easier to maintain during the week when we are in our normal routine, but it is the weekends when we can find ourselves eating at different times or perhaps just grazing across the day. Working from home can kind of feel like the weekend, and it can be easier to fall out of routine and develop new habits that might not be so good for our health in the long term. So, how can we avoid this and maintain healthy eating habits when working from home? Today, I'm going to share with you our top 4 hacks to help you achieve this. So this is a snapshot of our top 4 hacks, which we are going to delve into today. The first is around scheduling, planning and prep, and how allocating just a little bit of time to this can save you a huge amount of time later. Number 2 is on versatile staple ingredients and how you can switch up different combinations of these into many delicious meals on those busy days. Number 3 is around mindful eating and how tuning into our natural hunger and satiety cues has many positive benefits. And finally, number 4 is about getting creative in the kitchen and trying new ingredients and recipes to keep meal times interesting so we do not fall into a rut of eating the same thing every day. So let's jump into our first hack, which is scheduling, planning, and prep. This one is all about taking a little bit of time ahead of the week to get organised and how this can have a huge impact on your ability to maintain your healthy routine during the week. Particularly when working from home, it can be easy to get stuck into the workday and to just keep on going without taking any proper breaks. Schedule in your calendar exactly like you would a meeting, a daily lunch break. That way, your day doesn't get booked out with back-to-back meetings, leaving you no time to eat. Regular breaks is also really important for breaking up the long stretches of time that we can spend sitting at our desk. On a Friday afternoon, look at your week ahead and get these breaks scheduled in. Or even better, set a recurring appointment for lunch each day so that you know you always have this time set aside. Even if you can only manage 15 minutes to start, you will notice a huge difference. Next up is planning and prepping your meals. On a Sunday, take 10 minutes to think about your meals for the week ahead. What ingredients do you already have on hand and what are you running low on? Create a shopping list before heading out to the shop so that you can avoid those last-minute dashes to the supermarket in the evening for dinner ingredients. Planning meals ahead of time also helps to prevent food waste, which is really important for the environment and also helps your budget. So finally, let's talk meal prep. The photo here on the right is a classic depiction of how meal prepping looks on social media. It has really become its own food trend, and while there's lots of great ideas online, it can seem a little overwhelming and unrealistic. The good news is you do not have to give up your entire Sunday afternoon to meal prep if that doesn't suit you. Simple things such as washing your fresh produce before it goes in the fridge or in the fruit bowl definitely saves you time later, and importantly, it makes it much more likely that you'll actually eat these. Cooking meals in bulk is also really helpful. For example, next time you make something like bolognese, which freezes really well, make double so you can freeze half for another week. Soups, curries, or lentil dals are all great meals that you can make in large batches and freeze. Taking the time to plan and prep sets you up for success in terms of eating healthy meals. When we have nothing prepared and it's already 6 p.m. and everyone is hungry, this is when we're much more likely to go for convenient options like takeaway, which we know are not as nutritious. But if we already have things in mind and prepared, then the healthy option becomes the easy option and we'll go for this. Our second healthy routines at home hack is to stock up on versatile staple ingredients. A well-stocked pantry, fridge and freezer makes it so easy to whip up delicious and nutritious meals in no time at all. We are so lucky to have so many convenient options in terms of how we buy our groceries these days. Why not order your groceries online and have them delivered? Or order a fresh fruit and veg box to be delivered from your local market. This is a great way to support local suppliers, and it also ensures you have fresh produce on hand all the time. Another great tip is to really utilise your pantry and your freezer. There are so many great staple ingredients that can be stored in either your pantry or freezer for quite some time, and these can form the base of many delicious meals. We're going to talk more about staple ingredients next. It is also great to have a few go-to meals and snacks that you know you can make with a few simple ingredients in no time at all. So let's talk pantry staples. There are so many versatile ingredient options here. Things like canned lentils and legumes such as chickpeas, black beans, and red kidney beans. Stock, which is a key ingredient in so many different meals such as soups, stews, and risotto. Tinned tuna and salmon. So when you're buying these, try to choose options that are in spring water or extra virgin olive oil. Canned vegetables such as corn for stir fries and fried rice, or beetroot for sandwiches and salads. Things like tinned tomatoes and passata again are a really versatile meal base. When buying canned goods, look for reduced salt varieties because the sodium in these types of products can really add up if we're not careful. Also keep plenty of different types of nuts and seeds on hand, which you can add to cereal, porridge, or to add a bit of crunch to a salad or pesto pasta. They also make a great snack for when you're on the go. Extra virgin olive oil is another great pantry staple for some healthy fats, and you can cook with it or use it as salad dressings. A variety of grains such as rolled oats, rice, pasta, couscous, quinoa. It's great to try cooking with different types of grains as well that you don't usually buy to increase variety. And finally, some backup ingredients such as long life milk to avoid that early morning dash to the corner shop. The fridge and freezer too can keep stock of many versatile ingredients. In the fridge, things like eggs, dairy products such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, or calcium fortified plant-based dairy alternatives if you prefer. Fresh fruit and veggies, meats and seafood, and plant-based protein options such as tofu or veggie burgers. The freezer, however, is really where you can make meal times easier. It is a common myth that frozen fruit and vegetables are less nutritious. However, this is not true at all. In fact, interestingly, studies have shown that frozen fruit and veg can actually contain higher levels of vitamins and minerals, as they are often snap frozen close to the time of harvest. The produce that sits on the supermarket shelves can sit there for some time, so the nutrient composition can be compromised. Meat and seafood can also freeze really well and be defrosted in the fridge on the day you want to cook with it. Bread and wraps are also great items to keep in the freezer so that you can just take out what you need. And this also really helps to prevent food waste, as these foods tend to go stale quite quickly if they're not in the freezer. And finally, as we mentioned earlier, cooking meals in bulk and freezing some portions is also a great way to help get a delicious dinner on the table quickly after a busy work day. Our third hack for creating healthy routines at home is to eat mindfully. We all know that eating mindfully is important, but the reality is it is hard to achieve this on some days. Think about yourself over the last week. How many meals have you actually sat down to enjoy and savor, distraction-free? I am guessing that if you're like most people, it's probably not many. Modern life is so busy and we are often trying to multitask to fit everything in. However, we really need to take it back to basics when it comes to meal times to rediscover that connection with our food. So why is mindful eating important? When we are eating mindfully, we are stopping and actually taking the time to do nothing else but just eat. No screens, no phone calls, no distractions. And what this allows us to do is to pay attention to our food, to savor each bite, and to tune into our natural hunger and satiety cues. When we eat mindfully, we are also much less likely to rush. How often have you scoffed down lunch in 5 minutes without even giving it a thought while you're trying to do something else? Eating in tune with our body is also essential in avoiding eating for reasons other than genuine hunger. Are you looking for a snack because you're genuinely hungry, or are you maybe feeling stressed or tired or feeling emotional about something? Our final tip here is to also not forget about hydration. It sounds like an obvious one, but if we're not careful, the entire day will go past and we've barely had anything to drink. Keep a glass of water on your work desk to remind you to drink, and mix it up with herbal teas and add some fresh fruit or fresh herbs to your water to give it some flavour. Taking that glass and filling it up at the tap is also a great way to again get up from the desk and just break up those long stretches of sitting. It's really interesting that often dehydration can actually present itself as that kind of ravenous hunger that we've all experienced, where you just want to keep eating, and it's usually processed sugary foods that you're craving during this situation. So it's really important to keep up your hydration throughout the day. So that brings us to our fourth and final hack for creating healthy routines at home, and that is to get creative in the kitchen. Earlier, we talked about having a few go-to meals and ingredients on hand all the time that you can rely on when you need a quick dinner and you don't want to try a new recipe, you don't want to look anything up on Google, you just want to get dinner done. But in addition to this, it's also really important to step outside your usual routine and try some new ingredients and recipes. Not only is this really important for ensuring your diet has lots of variety, it is also key in preventing boredom. Variety in our diets helps to ensure that we are getting the full range of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytochemicals that are good for our health. Try a new recipe one night each week as a way to add to your repertoire of favourite recipes. Similarly, try a different fruit or veg each week that you've never bought before. There is so much variety to be enjoyed when it comes to all types of foods, but particularly fresh produce. So really be adventurous here. Even something as simple as serving your favourite meals with a different side dish or a different vegetable can be enough to keep mealtimes really interesting. So when it comes to making any changes to our routine, it is important to make small changes at a time and to do this in a sustainable way. If we try to go from 0 to 100 and make a lot of changes at once, it is often far too difficult to maintain. Think about the changes you would like to make and aim to make a small tweak each week, for example. Allowing yourself the time for those new habits to develop and become the new normal is key before moving on to the next. And that brings us to the end of this webinar on 4 hacks for creating healthy routines at home. I would encourage you all to think about what your key takeaways are from today and what tweaks you could make to your own routine at home to strengthen those healthy habits. And as always, if you would like individual tailored dietary advice, make an appointment to see an accredited practicing dietitian in your area. You can find an APD by visiting the Dietitians Australia website online. I hope you enjoyed today's session and took something new away from it. There will be a survey link sent around that goes with this webinar, so it would be great if you could complete that just to reiterate those learnings from today. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope that you took something away from today's session.